You've got your test result back. Unfortunately, you've not passed. We're going to talk about what you can do to make it a success. So, you've got back to test centre and the examiner said to you, unfortunately, you've not passed your driving test. You're going, it's a shock to you. It's literally someone like they've pushed you over. It's a shock to your system, and you'll feel in shock for the next 2 or 3 days, and it is quite demotivating knowing that you've worked hard leading up to it, and all of a sudden it's all gone wrong and you've not passed your driving test. Well, there's a hope on the horizon. That's what you've got to say. After a few days, you'll start to feel different. But what you can do in the meantime, while you're feeling a little bit down and you remember what's going on, is as soon as you get home, is sit yourself down and write down bullet points of what you can remember on the driving test of the mistakes that you've done. And there will be a few things that you'll remember. So do it now before you forget. Otherwise, if you wait 3 days, 4 days, it starts to get a little bit confusing and you can't remember half of the stuff. So write down bullet points of what you've done wrong on your driving test. On the debrief at the driving test centre, and after the examiner said to you you've not passed, it is getting a little bit fuzzy. Hopefully your instructors stood outside listening. They're going to say to you, we're going to send you an email of your driving test report. Print it off. This is a copy of someone sent me. You can see on there they've got a serious fault for junctions turning right and a serious fault for reverse parking observations, and they've got other driving faults for different things, moving off, response to traffic signs, and so on. So print that off and side by side what you recognise on your test that you've done wrong and what the examiner's written down on the test report, and see if any of them match up. If they do, then you recognise some of your faults straight away. If there's anything on there that you don't recognise, what the examiner's put on there that you got serious for, any faults that you got for, then you need to work on them more also, more than ever actually, because there's something that you didn't realise you've done wrong. And anything that you felt at the beginning of the test, whether you felt nervous, that's a factor. So if you feel nervous all the way through the driving test, write it all down. So when you sit down with your instructor and start to come up with a plan of action, because that's what you want to do, plan what's going to happen next, because you want to get yourself out of that slump and back up there, because after a few days, 4 or 5 days, you'll be ready for driving again and proving people wrong that you can do this, and you're going to pass that test. And you've got to come up with a plan of action. So you've got to say to the instructor, right, okay then, I've got 1 serious and 2 3 faults, so it's not a lot. The instructor's probably going to agree with you, it's not a lot of faults. Let's see if we can get you booked in there for a month away. And a month might sound like no chance, because the waiting list is 3 or 4 months. You'll get yourself in there, test starting to appear. So keep logging on, 9 in the morning, 5 at night. That's when the DVSA are probably going to release driving tests, and keep checking. Get a test date booked in with that's availability of your instructor. And if you have to bring the test closer because you've not got a lot of faults, there's a silly mistake on the test that caused it, then speak to your instructor what his availability is, or what their availability is leading up to your driving test date that you're trying to book. Then you need to plan the lessons, and you've got to be serious about the lessons now. You've got to say, right, okay, I've made a mistake. I've got a serious for the manoeuvre. I've got to work on that manoeuvres. I need some manoeuvres to be spot on now. I need to know exactly what to do if things go wrong on the test. I need to understand what I should be doing with observations, what I should be doing with the car to get in that position, to get that manoeuvre finished. So work with your instructor, come up with different scenarios, how you can correct things. If it's a roundabout's fault, work on roundabouts more. If it's a junctions fault, which is the most common, work on junctions more. Go to busy areas where the junctions are difficult, so that you get a better standard of driving. And then once you feel like everything's going fine, give yourself about 2 or 3 weeks before you take the test to do a few mock tests, so you can lead up to that test, getting used to the pressure. Okay? Good luck. I'm hoping these few little tips help you. If they do, fantastic. And remember, lots of people fail and lots of people retake the test and pass. So good luck.